Hello and welcome to, I was going to say coffee moaning. What the hell are we doing?
That's coffee moaning.
How to stay married so far. If you hear the sound of cracking ligatures, knuckles, knees being chewed in the background, it's our dog. She's eating, you're not going to believe it, paddywhack. Do you know paddywhack is a thing?
What is paddywhack?
I don't know. Paddywhack,
Oh,
paddywhack.
give
Give your dog a bone. This bird is coming.
Well, she's chomping that. We've been waiting for her to finish it so we could start this podcast. I said, Mark, we're just going to have to go.
We moved her into another room.
But she's come back.
Toffee, go to your bed. Anyway, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, listening on podcasts, watching on podcasts, what have you. We thought it's been a weird day today. We knew we were going to do this podcast, didn't we? And I kind of knew that the responsibility was mine to bring an agenda to it, because we sort of flip and flop, each of us looking for stories and topics and things like that. But I've been so kind of walloped by global politics. It's quite a thing, isn't it? I mean, we're very lucky as a couple that we, in a weird way, we both, maybe we don't want to share in or, experience the news at the same level at the same time. But we have great sympathy and empathy. We're very much in sync with each other about global politics and talking specifically about Gaza here.
I mean, we would never go a day without talking about Gaza or America, would we?
No, and I'm just wondering.
It's a lot, and it's a lot because it's so dire.
Yes. And on the one hand, there's great comfort in knowing that we're on the same page politically and what we think about it and how we feel about it. I mean, God forbid imagine if you were an activist and involved in it and I was just totally kind of disengaged.
Or vice versa.
Exactly. So that's been quite exhausting.
Maybe we should do a podcast on that one day.
Yeah.
What it feels like to be really engaged in something and your partner isn't.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because sometimes when I'm not, say when I'm feeling on an upper and we have a day where you feel you're in control of what's coming at you, you might not like it, but you feel enabled, you feel sort of able to kind of deal with things. But on a day when you don't feel like that and the news comes to you through your partner, it's not about being hijacked, because that's just you're hijacking in a horrible way, but because you're wanting to share in it, it can really be destabilizing for one or the other. It's like, I don't know if I can go there right now.
We bomb each other all the time.
So we're going to escape global politics as if one can really do that at all. And I thought we could have a natter about a piece that I found online, which is entitled Simply This.
Oh God, it's not going to be sex again, is it?
No, it's not. It's totally unsex related. Oh. Everyone turns off.
Hit me with your rhythm.
Everyone turns off. I notice our sex podcasts do very well.
You're all desperate for it out there, aren't you?
You love a good bit of pegging.
Bloody hell.
I love pegging. Why do you like pegging so much? Okay, this is...
Do you know what? I can't even remember what pegging is. Oh, is that when the woman puts the...
strap on up his arse. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought we'd get there quickly. Okay, so this is... we sent that to our agent, and I've never seen more expressive emojis come through.
Did you see her message where she said she had a meeting the next day and it popped up on her bloody
the peg?
pen? Yeah.
The peg. Okay, so what is the topic this week? Well, the article is actually entitled 11 Things Husbands Wish Their Wives Noticed About Them More Often.
Oh God. Is number one their biceps?
Oh no, none of it's physical.
Oh,
none of it's their penis, their testicles, their scrotum.
Okay, that's enough. If it's not in there, why are you bringing it up?
Because
Nobody wants to hear the word scrotum. Why do men think it's a good word?
Is there any part of the male anatomy that's attractive?
Yeah, but not just for no reason. I don't want to just think about a scrotum like a man might think about breasts. A scrotum is a shriveled sack. Well, when you say scrotum, you go scrotum. We think as women, shriveled sack.
Okay, we're not going to go towards sex.
Okay, maybe now you'll stop saying the word scrotum.
Shriveled sack. That's nice. Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to go through all 11, but I am going to home in on some of these things because I think, obviously, I'm not suggesting that you don't notice these things enough about me.
This is just in a list.
This is in a list.
Your list.
And I think this is a list. Yeah, exactly. So the first thing that's right at the top of the list is men wish their wives noticed more their subtle romantic gestures.
What would you say are your subtle romantic gestures?
I couldn't really put a piece of paper between, I'm being romantic, then I'm not being romantic. I feel romantically inclined to you most of the time. So I'll want to help where I can help. I don't want to do something.
Do you think anything's ignored?
Well, apart from obvious things like the toilet roll being left in the centre of the floor. I mean, I'm not talking
Hang on a
about
minute.
chores
No, you've got this all wrong. What romantic gestures
No.
am I not noticing?
Right.
We're
I
not
know-
bringing up
well,
the fact that you keep leaving the
No, I know.
fucking toilet roll in the middle of the floor.
I don't think you ignore any of my romantic gestures. So when I do things like book a nice trip, or I'm more than happy to drive us to the coast, or take us away, or go book somewhere nice, or take us out for a nice evening, or think of a play that we might like to do, or something, all that kind of stuff.
Or make me a cup of tea.
Or make you a cup of tea.
I think it's those. I think probably that's what people mean.
But I genuinely,
Isn't it? It's those little
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
So like somebody's exhausted, you say, "Oh, put your feet up, make a cup of tea." That's romantic because what to me, because romantic means that you're cherishing, that you're recognizing the other person's feelings and emotions, and doing a little something for it.
I mean, it's a tricky one without wishing to resurrect the trauma of our Valentine's episode recently, because the more traditionally romantic things, neither of us put much store in. We're not particularly, it's like a romantic meal for the sake of a meal. We both see the hassle in it. We have a romantic time and can have romantic fun by accidentally going out in the pissing rain, stumbling around
But
somewhere.
I think romantic for me means authentic. So if you've authentically gone, do you know what? We haven't been out for a meal for ages and I'm doing it. Or, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to, fill the dishwasher and empty the dishwasher every day this week just because bloody hell, how many more times does she do it than I do it? Those are authentic feelings. It's when somebody does something to receive something back that it's not romantic.
Yes.
In my book.
And I would say that you do always acknowledge my romantic. I think you.
Yeah.
I don't feel.
That's
but
nice.
I really, really struggle. I feel romantically inclined towards you in almost everything. So if I was to, I mean, obviously there's the cut and thrust of just living your lives together. But most of the time, if there's anything, I feel romantic about walking through a doorway. I'll let you go through it first, and I'll hold it for you, whereas you let it slam in my face, which is fine. But do you know what I mean? I mean, that's why I struggle to kind of identify those moments. But in terms of,
Well, I think the article here, if I remember rightly, though it seems to be that you've forgotten what it was. Is it not the things that women ignore?
yeah, exactly.
Right. So
you
what
don't,
do
you,
they
d-
say?
you don't ignore.
Well, that's great, but what do they say are the kind of things?
It doesn't say.
Oh,
No,
fucking hell, this is going well.
No, they don't say it. It talks generally. It's one of those stupid articles that talks
Well, let's
generally.
have a listen to some
Husbands
of the
wish their
stupid
wives notice the effort they put into being romantic. An impromptu trip to Paris might not be on their agenda, but husbands still try to make their wives feel special as often as they can. They care about the little things, like making the perfect cup of coffee every
Oh,
morning.
God, everything I've just said then.
Yeah, absolutely. I love making you a cup of tea most days. It's like Sunday just gone. There's something I love doing, but again, you've got to be careful that what I want to do that's a romantic gesture, if you're not wanting it, I can't get annoyed that you don't want. Do you know what I mean? There's that awful kind of, what's it called that we call it? Nazi parlour games. The idea that I want you to stay in bed and have
Well,
a cup
exactly.
of tea, and you're like, well, I don't really want to stay in bed and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
But what I will do is just make you a cup of tea, and wherever you'd like it, you can have it.
Yeah.
Or let's not do anything today. Let's knock that off the agenda so that you can just relax and do your yoga and all stuff. Today, I mean, I could see you were really struggling at one point, and it's not romantic, but I could see we needed to get you out and
Well,
we
it
needed
is
to usher you away.
romantic. It is romantic because it's noticing and cherishing and taking action.
Anyway, she always notices my romantic gestures, such as Cornwall, which is coming.
How you want to be happy for the rest of your life?
Husbands would wish their wives noticed more about them, their desire to want to improve. I quite liked this one. It's not that
Read it to me.
So wives who feel consistently frustrated tend not to notice how much their husbands want to be better versions of themselves. They can't change overnight, but husbands can commit to self-reflection and self-improvement. It's not easy for husbands to acknowledge that they need to change, but when they do, they would like their wives to notice. Psychologist Nick Wignall revealed that couples with the highest success rates do one thing really well. They listen to each other, accept feedback, and put in the work to change. I think what I liked about this, I think you really acknowledge my commitment to put the effort in to improve. I do think that sometimes, especially when one's in the kind of cut and thrust of a row, or at the sharp edge of a row, progress, for want of a better expression, because it's not like you're trying to be a good kid at school, but improvements you've made in your behaviour, your personality, oversights, where you've kind of made mistakes in the past, can vaporize. They evaporate. They go out the window. And I find that women are far more effective. If you were like a croupier, you just clear everything off the base table, and it's back down to zero.
It's so
and it's like,
funny
oh God.
you should say this. The other day I was talking to one of our daughters, and they were talking about their boyfriend, and they were saying, God, it's so frustrating when I'm saying to him something that I'm not happy with, and he wants to say to me, but what about all those things that I've improved, and what about all those? And I said, oh my God, that's exactly what your dad does.
Yeah,
Because in that moment, because what feels difficult about this, and I do think it's many more men that do it than women, in my experience, is that you've brought something to the table that you're not happy about, and they want you to talk about what you should be happy about. And then when you don't want to talk about that because you're talking about this thing now, they then go, oh wow, I've done all of that and it doesn't make any difference. Do you see what I mean? It's a layering, isn't it? And it's like, oh yeah, this is great,
Like
this
a
is great,
millefeuille.
this is great, this is great, millefeuille. It's 1,000 layers. And then it's like, and then it's so enraging when somebody does that.
Like
You've got so much better at that. Oh my God. When we were first together, I thought, I can't do this.
Do what?
I just thought he's the most shit arguer ever. Because he goes, but what about all the things I've done? And you go, what the fuck do you think that's got to do with it? This is so annoying, this thing. So that's really interesting. That's written by a male psychiatrist and male skewed. And yet so many women talk about that.
But I wonder whether there's just a different genetic, gender-specific approach to conflict resolution.
Yeah, I do.
And
score.
behavioural change.
It's like they've got a score. But the scorecard says that I've done
Hang
this,
on a
I've
minute,
done
hang
this,
on a
I've
minute.
done...
Hang-
Not like
yeah.
in scoring,
No.
but like a list. There's a list that there's improvements. So they're like, I don't see why you're unhappy about this because I've done all of this. It's like we
can
never
I-
reach a point.
No,
where
I
we can
agree.
just go,
But I
"There's
do,
no
I
more
do think
improvement."
of the two genders, women, by and large, I found across my life, have a notebook with with a list of all the things you could improve on. I found that women can, and I don't mean literal, though I can remember one that did. Metaphorically, literally, you have a list of things that you can rattle off quite quickly.
What's my list?
I don't know. It's your
No, but
list.
what is it? If you've been on the end of it and I can rattle it off so well, what is it?
Well, things about like projecting, writing the script, not being in the moment, not waking up and not feeling the joy of life. And
No, I
being
never
in the-
say to you, you don't wake up and feel the joy of life. I say be careful about how you wake up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
don't
Or
ruin other
how
people's
you
joy.
come into the room, grey passing. You know, I mean, there are many things that you can. But what I'm saying
Well,
is,
let's
that
break that list
Hang
down
on,
a bit
no,
then, and then give me my list.
in a week you could easily, and none of them. I'm not saying any of them are necessarily inaccurate or wrong, but as men, I don't have a list. So there's that fantastic thing where
You
when
do have a list.
No. But when you ask a man, what are the things that I know you're not supposed to be able to get the ick with women, but you can be put
No,
off
don't
women.
ever say it.
No, but you can be put off women. But if you ask men to list it, they become completely mute.
No, you've never got anything to say.
Well,
When
because
they go, well, there's stuff wrong with you as well. I go, well, what is it? And they go,
Because men can't be bothered to hold on to this stuff.
right.
We can't.
It's that superior being thing.
No,
again,
not
isn't it?
superior. We don't have the sophistry to keep it all in little kind of compartments
Do you-
that look like a fucking all a Keeley kitchen.
Do you think
Sorry.
there's any possible chance when you just think about the way that women are in all other situations, in most other situations, like
Right.
the way that we, like if somebody was having a real problem and they flew in here and they were sobbing and the men would move away
I
a bit,
wouldn't.
a little bit. They would.
I
And they go,
wouldn't.
now at this
Well, no,
point,
the first thing I
the
do is
best-
look to the other woman and go, what should I do?
Exactly. At this point, it's better if I just reverse a bit because it's got a bit, you know, and if you think about if you wanted something nice, organised and, you know, you're going to, usually the woman in a couple is going to do that, or if it's a social thing, or if it's like, and all of those brilliant things about a woman are also going to inform the fact that they're across a lot of things with their partner. So I don't think many men come into a relationship really aware of the woman and what they might need. I think more often than
No,
not,
I
they're
agree.
quite focused on themselves
No, I
and their
agree.
own needs
I
and
agree.
their own ambitions and, you know, oh, well, there's no one to look after the kid, but I'm flying off to so-and-so to do, you know, there's a lot of enormous privilege still with the way that a man is in the world compared to the way a woman is. So, and that's nobody's fault, it's just the way of the world. So there is usually more that we are wanting than the other way around.
Which makes total sense of the fact that you've kind of confirmed you've got an enormous
I haven't got an enormous list.
checklist.
But I've got a list.
Yes, okay. You don't have a what?
I've got a list.
But it's not a...
But not an enormous list. It's
Oh,
the
okay,
same fucking
okay.
list.
So you've got
it's
a
the
list.
same list I've had for
hang
20
on,
years.
but men haven't got the list. So when men...
Because
when men are hang on, so
women
when-
are much better at
Yes,
living and
but
caring
I think
for
we've
another person.
I think we've answered the problem, which is the reason men want acknowledgement for when they've improved is men are thinking quite literally, let's put a tick in the box on the list so that it's ticked. And
This is exactly what I've said.
Yeah, but when an argument...
But then if you've done 6 things on the list, is nothing else supposed to come in on the list?
No, because then when you have an argument...
You go,
No,
I've done 7 things on the list.
no, for some reason, like Simple Simon, whatever that thing is, the Etch-a-Sketch,
No.
you just wipe the list
You've not
off.
listened to anything I've said, because I've said that's what's very fucking annoying about men. It's like you do run a score in your head all the time.
Yeah,
Go, what?
like- it's like a golf
What? There's something
cheat.
else that I've got to
Yes,
do.
that is annoying. It does always feel like there's an
I've
extra
already
thing.
done this,
Yeah,
this,
it does
this.
always- but it
And
does
that,
always-
But try, men, listen to me. Really try not to do that. Try and stay focused on the other thing that the person might be asking you.
Okay.
Because otherwise you look like a silly idiot.
Why do most women not feel the need to improve at all?
Well, that is a totally ridiculous thing to say. Most women don't feel the need to improve.
Okay, I'm going to
at
ask
all.
most
Oh
women in a
my God,
relationship.
that is so
How many
worrisome.
women? Most women in a relationship think they're right,
Mark,
don't they?
you know what really pisses me off about this?
Oh my god!
Nobody's going to have an argument without thinking they're right. Okay? Because why would you have the argument?
Yeah, but most women feel
so
either
they don't-
put if
but
they.
Why would you have an argument if you didn't think you were right? You're arguing
But
your
men
point.
think they're right too sometimes.
Exactly.
Are they ever right?
Exactly. You say, why is it women always think they're
Yeah, but-
right?
but-
What a
but-
stupid thing to
But
say.
if men push back on something, usually it's men's fault. Men
Give me
are
an
still
example,
wrong.
because you're wittering.
I'm not wittering.
You are.
I'm just aware that
what?
they're
That's
women
aware of
are
much.
always right.
9 times out of 10, we are right. You've said it. Women are always right.
But if I don't say it, you say, give me an example. We don't have the checklist.
Listen,
You have the checklist.
listen,
We don't have the
listen,
fucking checklist.
When we argue, you think you're right and I think I'm right.
Yeah, but you
Many
make-
times in our
me-
life, I will say to you, we're going to have to agree to disagree. And it used to annoy you so much.
Oh, it still
but
does.
actually, what you're saying when you say that is, yes, we might be married. Yes, there might be lots of things we agree on. There might be some things we disagree on. We might be able to sometimes talk another person into what we think of. But sometimes we are still just two individuals that are going to think differently. I think it's such an important thing to be able to say in a marriage, because some people will not give up. They will just want to keep going until
You've
sometimes-
acquiesced.
Yeah, and
Yeah, no,
sometimes
okay,
it's
I
important
agree.
to go, do you know what? It's not about, I'm never going to agree with you because you're an idiot. You say, do you know what? We're going to have to disagree because we are two individual people. Just because
Yeah.
you're married doesn't mean you always have to come to a resolution that the other person is right.
Right.
And you've always taken it as an insult, and you shouldn't. You should be glad of it.
What, that we don't agree?
You should be glad that I say sometimes, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree, rather
You
than badgering and badgering.
make mincemeat of me in rows because you have readily available to you a checklist of things you can help. It's like
Your
being
brain just doesn't work
No,
as
it's
fast.
like being in a boxing ring with, I don't know, Muhammad Ali, and I'm being over there, and I feel quite agile as a kind of in terms of emotional intelligence, and I'm like flip, and it's just like, what the fuck? And then I get to a point where I think, why is she saying all this? Because what women then engage in, and I have to say, I'm talking about our relationship really, but what you engage in is you'll use phraseology that isn't specific to the argument. You go, I've always felt you're a something or other, Or and suddenly it's like, oh, hang on, we're not arguing about the specifics here. Suddenly the whole relationship is shit. And that's why men suddenly head towards, I've improved.
This is the whole point. That's what you hear.
But
what I'm saying to you is, when I'm pissed off with you about something, you always want to go, but what about me being fantastic there? And it's like, it's not a moment to talk about when you're fantastic. I tell you you're fantastic often enough. At this moment, I'm telling you how you're not bloody fantastic and you're annoying me. Yeah, but you saying that all those other times I was fantastic. I wasn't fantastic. No, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to keep you focused on the fact that A, B, C. But it's hard to keep you focused because what you do is you try and run forward and run back to pick up whatever it is to defend yourself.
Okay. One of the other things.
Hang on. What do you mean, okay?
Well, we're moving on.
Well, then you better say we have to agree to disagree. To just go.
I didn't go.
You did. You went like that, Mark.
Did I?
Yeah.
It's because I'd lost my cursor. I'd lost my page. No, I'd lost what page I was on, so I was just trying to get it back. One of the other things that husbands wish their wives noticed more about them is how grateful they are. This is something you say a lot. You feel when we're not getting on or we're going through a difficult period of time, you feel unappreciated or that there's a lack of gratitude for you. I know you've said that before, but I think men feel that too.
Not often though.
But I hope not, because I am incredibly grateful for who you are, what you are.
I wouldn't say, my headline wouldn't be, oh, Mark takes me for granted.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this list is just a generic list for men, but again, I looked at this one and I thought, no, I think you do acknowledge how grateful I am, and I do feel grateful for, and I feel mostly grateful. The things I feel most grateful for, as well as all of the kind of complications, without going on about the finer details of how you've embraced my family, my life prior to us meeting, and all that kind of stuff. But it's just your constant support of the kind of the highs and lows, the ebb and flow of the issues and illnesses that I have. But also, I do also think that I'm grateful for the fact that you give me space to be what I want to be and what I need to be sometimes, and how I need to be around you and the girls and things like that. So I think we both are very grateful for our relationship. I think we both know that. I mean, we'll often say, won't we, God, just imagine if we had the sort of relationship that was boom, boom, boom. Oh my God, just imagine if we didn't have each other. No good relationship is easy, and that's for sure. A lot of it isn't easy, but we still have huge gratitude. I think both of us do. Yeah. One of the other top things that men would like women to be more, would like women to notice more, is how hard men try to communicate.
What are we supposed to be noticing here?
Husbands wish their wives noticed how much work we put into communicating. They might not get it right every single time, but men keep on trying. Husbands want their wives to appreciate them for the things they do get right, including the way they listen.
Who wrote this pile of shit?
As psychologist Dr. Barbara Winter pointed out, there's nothing more vital than good communication skills. And couples who can communicate effectively and how to do one thing, listen. Who's a better listener, men or women? I mean, I do think one of the problems with most relationships when they start to go wrong is that you don't listen to each other at all.
I think, I
you
think
hear
it
what
really
you want to hear.
It's too much of a generalisation. We can't say who listens better, men or women, because it so depends on the relationship. I mean, we both talk 19 to the dozen.
Yes.
We both have ADHD, and one of the major things of ADHD is jumping in. And we've both trained ourselves to listen. This podcast has helped us a lot.
Yes.
We've both trained ourselves to be better listeners. Our daughters were the ones that have made me work so hard at it because, they've pulled me up on it, in the past. And so I make such a point of sitting, really listening, looking into their face. But it is a skill that you have to learn, isn't it? And the thing is, some people in my life say to me, God, you're the most amazing listener that I know. And other people go, I never listen to anything. It's funny, isn't it? But and I think I'm both those things. But I think we get very excited. I get so excited by conversation, and I and then my brain starts going like a ping-pong machine. And active listening, which you learned about, didn't you, when you did your therapy course, is like listening without planning is very hard.
Can I say something that really upsets me when it happens?
What?
And it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, it really hurts. So we might say be in a situation with, I don't know, your parents or whatever, where we're having a conversation, and your dad says something, your mum says something, you'll tell a story. And then sometimes I feel I'll start to talk and you'll get up and you might be listening, but you get up and go. And the optics on that look like you're not interested in that bit. And your sister does it, Dina, too, sometimes. And I find it really... When
somebody else talks, it's my chance to get up and get the dinner on the table.
Right.
That's what it is, because...
But it genuinely lands sometimes. And sometimes it can happen with the kids, that we'll all be having a conversation, quite an intense conversation. In fact, I can think of it the other night. We're all sat down here. We're all talking. And I'm not suggesting for a minute you weren't doing something that needs to be done. But your timing of getting up is always when I open my mouth. And that presents, I'm just saying, it makes a little part of me go, oh.
Oh, well, I'll try harder with that. It is usually because I wouldn't get up when the girls are talking, but like if I am listening, but I've got like something to do, or if I don't feel the fucking dishwasher now, I've got to do it later, or this is the point I can, make tea or whatever. But I will notice that and work more.
Yeah, because I know you are listening, but it's just, and I noticed that...
active listening.
It's not even active listening. And I notice sometimes it can happen with your dad when he starts to talk to people. It's a male, and I do think it's a male-female thing.
I work really hard with my dad to stay with what he's saying.
Yeah, and I think with ADHD, it's doubly difficult to sit with a conversation. And I think we all project and think I do it with you terribly, so I'm throwing myself under the bus here too. I'll assume I know sometimes I do know the story, and so I'll assume I know the story that's coming. And so I will turn off somewhat because I'm thinking she's sharing the story with everyone else. But how hard is it to stay present for that? But likewise, it's like sometimes, I'll throw my penny's worth in, and suddenly, she's off. That's okay. Oh, all right. It's not significant. So, that could spin into not feeling like you're heard enough. The final one is their parenting style. Husbands wish their wives noticed how good they are at raising kids. And I have to say, I feel blessed with how you sort of allow me to be how I am. You allow me to indulge.
Allow me? Maybe sound awful.
No, I don't mean it like that. But I do indulge, without going again into the kind of nitty gritty of why, based on my childhood, based on, other children and all that kind of stuff. But you allow me to occupy, though, I think in the last week, I didn't occupy that space. I was very firm. But you allow me to occupy a space that I feel really grateful for, because it's not just about being the good guy or the what have you, but I feel really supported in the way in which I've tried to expand the girls' experiences, their minds, their enjoyment, their passions. I will always try to facilitate. I try to, as I did with my eldest girls, try and facilitate experiences, see things, encounter things, even if it's just once, so that they can test it and see if they like it. And you don't pass judgment on that. So I feel really lucky that you're kind in that regard.
Oh, but you shouldn't feel lucky. It's, parenting. I mean, our girls are very lucky to have two parents. Not everybody does. You certainly didn't. And you love our girls, and I love our girls. And both of us sometimes make mistakes with them. And, we're always, we have very similar, I'm the stricter one, but that's usually the way with mums. But I recognise, it used to annoy me more years ago, but I see that it's literally physically painful for you to have any kind of confrontation or anything with them. You cannot bear it. And so I'm okay with it. I'm okay with pulling rank, only very occasionally. I need to anyway, because they're great kids, but I don't think anymore, God, I wish, he would, God, why do I always have to be the misery? Why, I don't think like that anymore.
But I can well imagine that it not sharing or appreciating each other's parenting style would be such a trauma for a relationship.
Oh my God, we got married so quickly, so impulsively, didn't we? But I would say to anyone, because I do know people that have really fallen foul to this. They're caught up, they're in love, they want to get married. Oh yeah, we're going to have kids. They haven't really drilled into what that person's philosophy is on kids. Like, you know, do you believe in smacking them? Do you believe in shouting at them?
Yeah.
Do you believe in, you know, all of that? So I would not stay with somebody if they ever hit my child. I just couldn't. Or screamed and shouted at them. I mean, everyone blows up sometimes, but
I mean, imagine...
a regular shouter or deriding, you know, or too possessive of your daughter. You don't want them going out. You don't want them wearing short skirts. You don't want them having a boyfriend. All of that. Like, ask the question. If our child is 16 and they want to have a boyfriend, what would your reaction be? They say, well, absolutely no way. Drill into that a bit more because people... when their kids get to teenagers, a lot of marriages really run into very difficult situations.
Yeah, you're right. I can see that.
The mum and the dad separate. The mum's having to whisper up to the daughter saying, well, you know, I'll let you out, but don't tell your dad. And it causes huge problems.
And again, I think that, you know...
It's a good podcast.
It's a good podcast because it's also, you know, how you manage those differences. I mean, we have had moments where I've been a bit more protective about them, and you know, one doesn't want to let go. And
I've sometimes been too lax, and I regret it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're more suspicious of people.
Yeah, I'm suspicious of everyone. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel incredibly lucky. I feel that of the 11 things...
This is going very well for me.
Of the 11 things that husbands wish their wives noticed about them more often, I feel that you notice all of them, which is really nice.
This Angry Man article.
Yeah, it is an angry... As I was reading it, I was thinking, is this a bit kind of misogynist? Is this sort of like men moaning and groaning?
When I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah, what a load of old bollocks.
Well, I think we've determined that you're very happy.
Oh, that's
Apart from my list.
Well,
here's a way to rid yourself of the list. What? Just name the list again. What was on it?
Well, you tell me. You've got the fucking list.
you know what the list is. You've said to me you have to hear it so many times.
Writing the script already.
So that means sometimes and I do think this comes from you immediately running to anxiety and worry. Rather than hearing what I'm saying, you imagine it, you write the script, and you answer a script that I don't have.
No.
You have got better at it.
And I love writing scripts.
But wouldn't you agree that you not doing that so much means that you're not so unhappy with it?
Totally.
Because your script is always awful. He'll say to me,
it's a horror story.
So are you thinking da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, fucking hell, no. I'm just thinking, can you just not be so miserable?
I mean, basically,
it's like, the script that you write for yourself is awful.
And my therapist said, before we wrapped up our therapy session, she said, what you need to do in life is not write the script so much as a filmmaker. Write scripts as a filmmaker, not in your life, and not be aware of filming and watching your life. Just be watching the lives you've written scripts about. Not and isn't it? And she made a huge point.
So bad.
No. But she made a really interesting point, Lucy. She said this is my therapist, and she said it is no coincidence you became a filmmaker producer. She said you are needing to take control of life, which in essence, if you look at what documentary and fiction is, that's what it is.
Well, it was funny because when we first got together, you know, I am very in the moment person. You actually nicked quite a bit of that from me because you suddenly made me really conscious about things. You would be like, oh God.
That was only when we were bouncing around having sex, and then I'd be like, well, maybe if we pop a camera over there.
No, this was just in everything.
Oh, I see.
He was constantly outside of us, looking in on us. Like,
yeah, I was.
And then I thought, oh God, is this what being with a director is like? Is he like literally directing it the whole time?
Yeah.
So that was something on my list because you know, this was something that troubled me in our relationship. Troubled me in our relationship because it didn't feel happy. It didn't feel nice because it always ended with me. The story always ended with either me dying or leaving you or like catastrophic disaster. So we'd have like a really nice kiss and you go, oh God, look at where we are. Imagine if this was just destroyed and you were like dying. And I thought, fucking hell. So you stopped doing that so much.
Have I improved?
Grey passing.
Oh, yeah.
What is grey passing?
Well, grey passing always suggests that there's a desire to be grey passing, but there was no desire to be.
You've forgotten what the grey passing meant.
Grey passing
grey
meant?
Passing meant if we were in a barren time of our life sexually, because of whatever, we might be getting on really badly, I might be fucking knackered because I've got young children, you would just do this thing of just moving around the house like a grey cloud.
Yeah, grey passing
Just
is
walking
not nice.
past. He would do this, we'd just go like this, walk past me, I'd just go, and I'd think to myself, if you think that's going to make me want to say, you must be deaf, dumb, blind and stupid. Might have to cut that out, I don't think we can say that.
Not very nice. Not what bit?
I just said deaf, dumb, blind and stupid.
Oh, that bit. Oh, so what about all the rest of it?
Oh, no.
Oh, right. So grey passing was me being moody about not having sex.
Yeah, the classic thing that men do, where like women go, oh God, you know, I think I'm just gonna to like break the tension. Fuck that. I'm not gonna have to break the bloody tension. You go and break your tension on your own.
That makes me sound like I was in demanding mode.
No, it was what I said.
No, what it would be a period of time where I'd be like, I wonder why we can't connect.
That was, I wonder why we can't connect. What connect with your penis? Because connecting would have meant just going, oh God, are you really tired? Or let's just do something really nice. Or let's go to bed and cuddle. Or let's do that. I would give you all the pointers to not be grey passing, but you would still use grey passing.
I'm not grey passing anymore.
Exactly. So look how the list has reduced.
How much is on the list?
What was the other thing?
What else is on the list?
You tell me. You said it's a long list. You've had to hear something.
Well, I mean, writing the script can be... Jealousy is writing the script.
Yeah, so the jealousy was intolerable.
Yeah.
Neither of us... I couldn't breathe.
No,
I was hating you.
I know.
I didn't even want to look at your face. So on that list was very important because it was going to finish us off.
Have I improved in that one?
Yeah, totally fine now. So...
Wow.
The list. Like, was I jealous with you? Was
You'd never be jealous of anything.
Like you say, oh, men have, women have all the list. But I came to you a better person. I was older, and I didn't suffer with mental health issues. C, I had a really secure upbringing where I knew where I felt loved and I could ask for things. And so what if you, and I was 6 years older than you.
Yeah, true.
But your list is there. Your list is that I don't pay enough attention.
Oh, my list?
Yeah, your list about me. You've got a list. You've always had a list of moans.
Yeah. I mean, I think you think you're more right than you are sometimes.
No.
Yes.